What's up YouTube, Fantard here with my prediction videos for UFC 205, Tyron, the Chosen One Woodley versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now this fight has had a lot of controversy or drama leading up to it. Had problems with Tyron Woodley wanted to fight Stephen Thompson, him with his money fights. You have Wonderboy talking some crap, Tyron Woodley feeling like he's been betrayed by the fans, and you know, all that stuff, yada yada yada. There's been some drama, whatever. We finally got the fight on paper, and here we go with UFC 205, the fight in New York. Now, personally, I have a lot of fear coming into this fight, not because of who do I think is going to win or lose, but I have a fear of this fight possibly being a fight that isn't exactly as exciting as we would want it to be. Now, I'll talk about that later, but first, let's get tuned into the breakdown between Woodley and Thompson and who do I think is going to win. First, let's start off with the striking. Okay, we know what Tyron Woodley wants to do in the striking game. He is a guy who's very explosive and very athletic, and he likes to do some feints, and he likes to fake you out and then catch you with his speed and his powerful right hand to knock you the fuck out. He'll throw in maybe some kicks in there to like do as a distraction, but when it comes to his striking, it's pretty damn basic as far as technique goes. If you can adjust to his athleticism and his speed, you might be able to outstrike Tyron Woodley. But he's so damn dangerous with his over-aggressive power when it comes to that right hand. We saw what happened with Robbie Lawler. He fainted him out and he caught him on the chin, and that was it for it. Lights out. If he catches you on that chin, then he's going to knock you out most of the time, a majority of the time. Now, the thing with Tyron Woodley is that it's kind of predictable the way his striking is. It's very one-dimensional. It's moving around, using his athleticism, and try to catch you with that right hand. And maybe occasionally that left hand. He has some power in his left hand, but his right hand is the one that is the one you have to look out for. That's the money shot. That's the one that will take you out for good. And that's good enough for some fighters if you can catch them off guard in the first round. But the problem is that if you can't catch them off guard in the first round, if you can read his movements, if you can get used to his style, his speed, then you might be able to outstrike Tyron Woodley. And that's what I think Wonderboy Thompson's going to do. My opinion, Thompson's striking is a lot further ahead than Tyron Woodley as far as technique goes. His striking is amazing. He's good at counter-striking. He's good at circling fighters. His kicks are great. He's got a lot of power. And when it comes to Tyron Woodley, I think their powers are pretty much equal as far as their explosiveness. But Thompson brings more to the table. And the thing is, though, with Woodley is that if he doesn't get that power shot on you, he has a tendency to try and headhunt you, and that's where he becomes predictable. It happened in the Roy McDonald fight. It kind of happened even in the Kelvin Gastelum fight. Even though he was injured in that fight, like I believe he got injured in the first round. He was trying to, he landed some bombs on Kelvin Gastelum, and even though he won that fight, you could still tell he was kind of like headhunting, kind of like still hesitant. For a guy like Kelvin Gastelum, who came into that fight drenched and looked horrible in that one, and any other fighter might have finished him off, I was surprised that Tyron Woodley wasn't able to finish off Kelvin, and that just shows how tough Kelvin Gastelum is. But his striking looked very predictable in both Roy McDonald fight and the Kelvin Gastelum fight. If he doesn't catch you early on, if he doesn't knock you out, Woodley does have a tendency to headhunt, and when you try to headhunt, you become predictable, and that's what Wonderboy Thompson feeds off of. If freaking Woodley becomes a headhunter, if he doesn't get that knockout early, I don't see how he can outstruck Wonderboy Thompson. And on top of that, Wonderboy Thompson, he's excellent when it comes to the counter striking, and he's able to bring you in and catch you off guard when you are becoming predictable and you try to swing at his face and he'll knock you out like what he did to Johnny Hendricks. Now that stuff is obvious. He's good at circling. He's good at keeping his distance. He has excellent kicks. He's very unpredictable. And that's what I think is going to give Wonderboy Thompson the edge in the striking department. Now, obviously, if Woodley catches him in the chin, he might go out. And when in this sport, in this competition, at this level, you catch someone right on the chin perfectly, and then yeah, you go out. And that's what happened to Woodley. But I was surprised that Lawler was so not as aggressive as I expected him to be, because that's how I think you throw off Tyron Woodley, is that you're aggressive, but you are safe and you are timing his striking. And I think the way Thompson can use this to his advantage is he backs him up with his kicking game. And if he can do that, he'll do that what Rory McDonald did to Tyron Woodley. And I think that's what's going to give him the huge advantage. Now, here's where Woodley is going to have to change up this fight, and that's when it comes to his ground game. In my opinion, I think Woodley has the better overall grappling game. He's got a good wrestling background. His jiu-jitsu is solid. Before he came to the UFC, he would out-grapple guys like Paul Daly, and he does have it in his back pocket. He's a great wrestler. I don't see Wonderboy Thompson taking him down. With Wonderboy is that he's been grappling with Chris Weidman. His takedown defense has looked fantastic these past couple fights against Hendricks, against McDonald. And if Woodley is unsuccessful in taking him down, then I don't see how he can technically win this fight. If he can get him down, then it's a whole different ballgame. But even then, with Thompson working on his ground game as much as he has been, it's going to be extremely difficult, in my opinion, for Woodley to get him down. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Thompson try taking him down, since he's been working so much with Chris Weidman. He's probably going to teach him some takedowns or something to have in the back pocket so he can at least throw Woodley off his game and keep him guessing. Now, as far as the prediction goes, I think it's, for me, if Woodley doesn't catch him, and if he doesn't get him down to the ground, I don't think he can win this fight. I think Tyron Woodley has, even though he's a great fighter, he's very athletic, very strong. There are still some holes in his game that I think he needs to work on if he wants to convince me that he's going to be a reigning champion here for a long time. It doesn't matter how athletic you are. You'll get your time here and there with some good knockouts, some good takedowns, like he caught Robbie Lawler. But if your technique is easy to figure out and it's easy to look on tape and to see that you are predictable, then I don't see how he can win this fight. There's so many things, so many holes in his striking game that he needs to work on. And on top of that, I'm not so sure if his gas tank can keep up with Wonderboy Thompson, because he has been known to slow down in the past. Like, he doesn't look as explosive as he does in the first round because of all that muscle that he has with all the not enough oxygen going through his body. And Thompson, who's a little more slender, he will last a lot better. He'll fare better in the later rounds than Wonderboy Thompson. Than Woodley. But that's my prediction for this fight. I think Thompson takes this with a 5-round decision. Now, here's what I'm a little afraid that this might be a boring fight. With the last fight with Thompson, he looked very, very, not as aggressive against Rory McDonald. He fed off of people coming after him, and he fed off of being a counter striker. Like with Johnny Hendricks, Johnny tried to go after him with the takedown. He tried to knock him out with his left hand, and he got destroyed. Now, the thing is with Woodley is I have this fear that he's going to try and land that right hand, and he's going to notice that it's not working for him in the striking game. And if he tries to headhunt, he might not be as aggressive as he normally is. And if he's not as aggressive, then I don't think Thompson will be able to counter-strike as effective when he is against an aggressive striker or an aggressive fighter. And I have this feeling that if that happens, you're going to end up being with two guys who are trying to bait each other into fighting each other. And you have Wonderboy Thompson, who's probably edging him out in the striking game by using his kicks, but you have Woodley, who's backing up, who's looking for that one punch, and he can't take him down. And you have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who's winning the fight, but he's not using all his tools, just based on the way he looked against Rory McDonald. Because against Rory McDonald, Rory was not aggressive at all against Wonderboy. And then in that sense, Wonderboy did not look as effective. And there have been times where Tyron Woodley kind of shells up when it comes to guys who are able to push him back, or against great counter-strikers who can figure out his movement and his speed. That's just my one fear for this fight. I think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is going to take this fight by unanimous decision, but I have this little fear that it might be not as exciting. Although I could be completely wrong, and this could be a war, and I'll look like a fucking retard. But that's my thoughts on this fight. I'm throwing that out there to see what anyone else thinks about it. That's my predictions videos. Hope you guys like the prediction. Fantart out.